I caught my husband kissing our babysitter in my own kitchen while my baby was sleeping upstairs.
But that's
Not even the worst part, girl. What he did after that. It destroyed me. Left me with nothing. No money, no home. Just me and my 1.5-year-old daughter wondering how we'd survive the next day. But you know what? Sometimes rock bottom becomes the foundation you build your empire on.
And today?
That same man who walked out on us is sitting alone in a studio apartment while I'm running a business that brings in more money in a month than he made all year. You want to know how I got here? Buckle up because this story is gonna take you on a ride. My name is Vivian, and 3 years ago, I thought I had everything figured out. I was 25, married to my high school sweetheart James, and we had just welcomed our beautiful baby girl into the world. My hair was still those natural curls down to my shoulders that James used to say he loved so much. I was young, I was in love, and I genuinely believed we were building something real together. James and I met when I was 17. He was that smooth-talking boy who always knew exactly what to say, to make you feel like you were the only woman in the world. Dark skin, nice smile, worked in sales at a car dealership. Nothing fancy, but steady income, you know? We got married at 23, and by 24, I was pregnant with our daughter, Maya. Those first few months after Maya was born were magical. I mean, exhausting as hell, don't get me wrong. Any of y'all out there remember those sleepless nights with a newborn? Drop a comment if you've been there, because you know what I'm talking about. But despite the exhaustion, I was happy. James would come home from work, hold Maya, tell me I was doing an amazing job. I felt seen. I felt loved. But here's the thing about liars, girl. They're real good at making you feel special right up until the moment they're not. When Maya turned 1, I started feeling like I needed some help. James was working longer hours, or at least that's what he told me. I was home alone with a toddler all day, every day, and I was starting to lose myself. You ever feel like you're drowning but you're supposed to smile through it because you're a mom, and that's what moms do? If you have, you're not alone. That feeling almost broke me. So I told James we needed help. Just a babysitter, a few hours a week, so I could catch my breath, maybe run errands without dragging a diaper bag and a screaming toddler through Target. He agreed real quick. Too quick. Looking back on it now, that's when Keisha walked into our lives. Keisha was 22, sweet face, always smiled, always on time. She had references from 3 other families in our neighborhood, all saying she was amazing with kids. The first day she came over, Maya took to her immediately. That never happened. Maya was clingy with everyone except me, but with Keisha, she was laughing, playing, comfortable. I remember thinking, thank God. Finally, someone I can trust.
Girl.
That word.
Trust.
It'll get you every single time. For the first 2 months, everything seemed perfect. Keisha would come over 3 times a week, watch Maya for 4 hours while I'd go grocery shopping, hit the gym, or just sit in a coffee shop alone with my thoughts. Those moments of peace felt like oxygen after holding my breath for a year. James started coming home earlier on the days Keisha was there. He'd walk in, play with Maya, chat with Keisha about her day, ask her about her college classes. He was being friendly, supportive even. I thought, look at my man, being so welcoming to the person helping our family. I was so stupid.
No, wait.
I wasn't stupid. That's what James wanted me to think later. I was trusting. There's a difference.
And if
you've ever been betrayed by someone you loved, you know exactly what I mean. It's not about being dumb.
It's
about believing the best in people who showed you their worst in disguise. Keisha started staying longer. She'd finish her shift, but then she'd hang around, talking to James about TV shows, laughing at his jokes. I'd be in the other room with Maya, and I'd hear them in the living room just bonding. At first, I thought it was nice. I even told my sister, girl, Keisha's like part of the family now.
Maya
loves her. James likes her energy. We're blessed. My sister didn't say anything at the time, but she told me later she had a bad feeling. Women's intuition is real.
Y'all.
Has your gut ever told you something was wrong even when everything looked right? Listen to it. Always. Listen to it. Things started changing around month 3. Small things at first. James started texting more, but he'd flip his phone over when I walked by. He'd take calls in the garage. He bought new cologne, started hitting the gym harder, bought clothes I never saw him wear around me. When I asked him about it, he'd say, "Baby, I'm just trying to take care of myself. You always said you wanted me to be healthier." He was right. I had said that. So I believed him. Keisha started dressing different too. Tighter jeans. Lower tops. More makeup. I noticed, but I pushed it down.
I
Told myself I was being paranoid, insecure, one of those crazy jealous wives you see on TV. James never gave me a reason not to trust him, right?
Wrong.
He gave me 1,000 reasons.
I just wasn't ready to see them yet.
One evening, I came back early from my sister's house. She lived 20 minutes away, and I'd gone over to help her with some wedding planning. But she wasn't feeling well, so I left earlier than expected. It was around 8 p.m., Maya's bedtime. I walked into my house, and it was quiet. Too quiet. Maya's bedroom door was closed, and I could hear her baby monitor playing lullabies.
Good.
She was asleep. But then I heard something else. Laughing. Low voices. Coming from the kitchen. I walked down the hallway, my heart starting to pound for reasons I couldn't even name yet. And when I turned the corner into my kitchen, the kitchen where I cooked breakfast for my family every morning, the kitchen where I fed my baby girl, I saw them. James had Keisha pressed against my counter. His hands were on her waist. Her arms were around his neck. And they were kissing like I didn't exist. Like my baby wasn't upstairs sleeping. Like my whole life wasn't in that house. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, frozen, watching my world fall apart in real time. Have you ever had a moment where everything you believed just shattered? Where you couldn't even process what you were seeing because it was too big, too painful, too impossible? Drop a comment if you've been there, because I need you to know you're not alone in that feeling. I don't even remember what I said first. I think it was just, what the hell? They jumped apart like they'd been electrocuted. Keisha's eyes went wide, and she started stammering. Something about it not being what it looked like. James? He didn't say anything at first. He just stared at me like he was trying to figure out how much I'd seen, how much he could still deny. "It's not what you think," he finally said.
Girl, that line.
That tired, pathetic line every cheater uses when they get caught. It's exactly what I think, and it's worse than I think, and we both know it. "Get out," I said to Keisha. My voice was shaking, but I kept it together. I had to. Maya was upstairs. "Get out of my house right now." Keisha grabbed her purse and ran.
Didn't even look at me.
Didn't apologize. Just ran like the coward she was. And then it was just me and James. "How long?" I asked. "Vivian, baby, listen." "How long?" He sighed. Like I was inconveniencing him. Like I was the problem. "A month," he said. "Maybe 6 weeks. It just happened, Viv. It didn't mean anything." A month. 6 weeks. While I was trusting her with my child. While I was trusting him with my heart. While I was building a family, he was tearing it apart. It didn't mean anything? I repeated. "You brought her into our home, James. I trusted her with our daughter. With our daughter." I know, I messed up." "You didn't mess up. You made a choice. Over and over again. You chose her." He tried to reach for me, and I stepped back. I couldn't let him touch me.
Not then.
Not ever again. Any of y'all been in a moment where someone you love tries to comfort you after they're the one who hurt you? How did you handle it? Because in that moment I wanted to break down, but something in me knew I had to stay strong. We argued for 2 hours that night. He swore it was over, that he'd never see her again, that he loved me and Maya, and he'd do anything to make it right. He cried. Actual tears. And for a second, a stupid, weak second, I almost believed him. But then I asked, "Did you love her?"
And he hesitated.
Just for a second. But that second told me everything.
No, he said.
But it was too late. I told him to sleep on the couch that night. I went upstairs, checked on Maya, watched her sleeping so peacefully, completely unaware that her family was falling apart. I kissed her forehead and whispered, "Mama's got you, baby. No matter what, Mama's got you." Then I went to our bedroom, locked the door, and cried until I couldn't breathe. I wish I could tell you I kicked him out the next day. I wish I could tell you I was strong enough to walk away immediately. But I wasn't. Not yet. For the next week, I tried. I tried to forgive him. I tried to believe his apologies, his promises that he'd go to counseling, that he'd never hurt me again. I wanted to believe it for Maya.
Kids need their dads, right? That's
what everyone always says. But every time I looked at him, all I saw was her. Keisha's hands on him. His hands on her. In my kitchen.
in my home.
The place where I was supposed to feel safe. James went back to work. I stayed home with Maya. And I started noticing things. He was still on his phone all
The time.
still defensive when I asked questions.
Still distant.
One night, I asked to see his phone. "Why?" he asked. "I told you it's over."
Then you shouldn't have a problem showing me.
He handed it over, but something felt off. And sure enough, when I opened his messages, I saw he'd deleted everything recent. Call logs cleared. Everything wiped clean. "You deleted everything," I said. "Because I knew you'd go through it and find reasons to stay mad. I'm trying to move forward, Vivian."
Why?
"Can't you?" That's when I realized something. He wasn't sorry he cheated. He was sorry he got caught. And if you're reading this and you've ever dealt with someone who acted like your reaction to their betrayal was the real problem, girl, that's manipulation. And you deserve better. 2 weeks after I caught them, James came home late from work again. He said he had to close a big sale.
But
When he walked in, I could smell perfume on him. Not mine. Not even Keisha's. Someone new. I confronted him. He denied it. Said I was paranoid, that I was pushing him away with my accusations, that if I kept this up, I'd ruin what was left of our marriage. "I'm ruining it," I said. "James, you destroyed it the moment you touched her." "Maybe if you'd been more available, I wouldn't have looked elsewhere," he shot back.
girl.
Those words hit me like a punch to the chest. He blamed me for his cheating. Because I was exhausted taking care of our child. Because I didn't have makeup on every day. Because I wasn't the same carefree girl he married before life got real. I realized then that I wasn't just married to a cheater. I was married to a coward who couldn't take responsibility for his own actions. 3 weeks after that kitchen scene, James came to me with divorce papers. Not because I asked for them. Not because he wanted to work things out. But because he wanted out.
Clean.
Easy.
Done.
"I can't do this anymore," he said. "You're never gonna forgive me, and I'm tired of feeling like the bad guy." "You are the bad guy," I wanted to scream. But I didn't. I was numb by then. "What about Maya?" I asked. "I'll see her on weekends. Pay child support. We'll figure it out." Figure it out. Like our daughter was a logistics problem. Like 18 months of her life with her dad didn't matter. I signed those papers the next day. Not because I wanted to, but because I was done begging someone to love me the way I deserved. If you've ever had to let go of someone you loved because staying was killing you, you know how much strength that takes. And if you're in that place right now, wondering if you're strong enough to walk away,
You are.
I promise you, you are. James moved out a week later. Took half our savings, which wasn't much, maybe $3,000. Left me with the rent, the bills, and a toddler to feed. I had no job. I'd been a stay-at-home mom since Maya was born. No recent work experience. No degree.
No plan.
Our lease was up in 2 months, and I couldn't afford to renew it on my own. I applied for assistance, food stamps, anything that could help. My pride was gone. I just needed to survive. My sister offered to let us stay with her, but she lived in a one-bedroom apartment and was planning her wedding. I couldn't put that burden on her. So I moved us into a small efficiency apartment in a rougher part of town. It was all I could afford. 600 square feet, one room, shared bathroom down the hall. Maya and I slept on a twin mattress on the floor. I cried every single night after I put her to bed, silently, so she wouldn't hear me. I felt like I'd failed her.
Failed.
Myself. Have you ever felt so low that you didn't even recognize your own reflection? Like you lost yourself?
Completely?
That's where I was. And if that's where you are right now, I need you to hear me. It's not the end. It's the beginning of something you can't even imagine yet. One afternoon, I was at the park with Maya, letting her play while I sat on a bench trying to figure out how I'd pay rent next month. Another mom sat down next to me. Her name was Patricia, and we'd seen each other there a few times before. She looked at me and said, "Girl, you look exhausted. You okay?" I don't know why, but I told her everything. The cheating, the divorce, the struggle. She listened without judgment, and when I finished, she said something that changed my life. You know what you need? You need to take all that pain and turn it into power. Use it. Build something. You got skills. I can cook, I said. It was the only thing I could think of. I'd always loved cooking. Growing up, my grandma taught me all her recipes. Soul food, comfort food, the kind of meals that make you feel like you're home. Then cook, Patricia said. People always need good food. Start small. Sell plates. Build from there. It sounded impossible. I had no money, no connections, no idea where to start, but I also had nothing left to lose. Where are y'all from? Which state are you watching from? Because what happened next, it took a whole lot of faith and a whole lot of hustle. And I need to know who's riding with me on this journey. That conversation with Patricia planted a seed I didn't even know could grow. For days, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Cook and sell plates?
Me?
I was living in a 600 square foot efficiency with a toddler, barely scraping together enough for diapers and formula. How was I supposed to start a business? But desperation does something to you, girl. It makes you brave when you got no other choice. I took inventory of what I had. $23 in my checking account. A small electric stove in that tiny apartment. Some pots and pans I'd managed to keep from the divorce. My grandma's recipe book that I'd been carrying with me since I was 16. And a whole lot of anger that needed somewhere to go. So, I made a decision. I was going to cook my way out of this hell. I started with what I knew best, my grandma's fried chicken recipe. That woman could make chicken so good. It'd make you want to slap somebody. Crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside, seasoned with a blend of spices. She never wrote down, but I memorized by watching her cook it 100 times. I scraped together $15 and went to the grocery store. Bought a whole chicken, flour, oil, and seasonings. That night, after Maya went to sleep, I fried up that chicken in my little efficiency kitchen.
The
smell filled that whole tiny apartment, and for the first time in months, I felt something other than despair. I felt purpose. The next morning, I packed up those chicken pieces with some mac and cheese I made from a box, added some canned greens I doctored up, and I walked to the bus stop where people waited for the morning commute.
I had
made 5 plates, wrapped in aluminum foil, still warm. Fresh, home-cooked breakfast plates, $5, I called out. Better than anything you're gonna get at a drive-through. People looked at me like I was crazy. This young girl with a baby on her hip, selling plates out of a plastic grocery bag. But one man, an older gentleman in a construction uniform, he stopped. That smell like real food, he said. Not that fast food mess. He bought a plate. Then another guy saw him eating it and bought one. Then a woman. Within 20 minutes, all 5 plates were gone. $25 in my hand, I went back to that apartment, looked at Maya playing with her toys on the floor, and I cried. But this time they weren't tears of despair. They were tears of hope. Have any of y'all ever had that moment where you realized you could actually make it? where something small gave you the strength to keep going? Tell me about it in the comments, because those moments matter more than people realize. Every day for the next 2 weeks, I did the same thing. Woke up at 4 a.m., cooked plates while Maya slept, took her with me to the bus stop, sold out, came home, played with her, then started prepping for the next day. Once she went to bed, I was exhausted, running on maybe 4 hours of sleep a night, but I was making money. Real money. Word started spreading. People at that bus stop began waiting for me. "There go the chicken lady," they'd say. Some days I'd sell 10 plates. Some days 15. I raised my price to $7 because people kept telling me I was undercharging for food that good. But here's the thing, I wasn't just selling food. I was selling comfort. I was selling the feeling of someone caring enough to make you a real meal. In a world where everything is rushed and packaged and fake, I was giving people something authentic. And girl, people were hungry for that. Literally and figuratively. By the end of month 1, I'd made almost $600 profit. It wasn't much, but it covered rent. I could breathe a little. Maya had diapers. We had food. We were surviving. But I didn't want to just survive anymore. I wanted to thrive. Patricia found me at the park again one day and asked how the cooking was going. When I told her, she smiled real big and said, "Girl, you need to get on social media. Let people place orders ahead of time. Build a real customer base." I didn't even have a smartphone at that point. I was using an old flip phone I'd bought at a pawn shop. But Patricia offered to help me. She took photos of my food on her phone, helped me set up an Instagram and Facebook page, and taught me how to post. We called it Viv's Kitchen, soul food made with love. The first post went up on a Wednesday. A picture of my fried chicken, mac and cheese, collard greens, and cornbread. Patricia wrote the caption, "Home-cooked meals that taste like grandma's house. DM for orders. Local pickup only." By Friday, I had 12 messages. By the next Wednesday, I had 43. People wanted plates for their lunch breaks, for their family dinners, for their church gatherings. I was getting orders I couldn't even fill with my little setup. I made another decision. I was going to expand. You ever been at that point where you gotta risk what little you have to get to the next level? That's where I was. And let me tell you, that risk, it's terrifying but necessary. I'd saved up about $800 by this point. Not much, but it was something. I found a used, commercial-grade stove on Craigslist for $300. A guy was selling it because his restaurant had closed down. I borrowed my sister's boyfriend's truck, picked it up, and somehow got it into my efficiency apartment. It barely fit, but I made it work. I also invested in real food containers, business cards I designed myself at the library, and better ingredients. No more canned greens. I was buying fresh collards from the farmer's market. No more boxed mac and cheese. I was making it from scratch, with 3 types of cheese. The quality went up, and so did my prices. $9 a plate. People still bought them like crazy. Within 3 months of starting, I was making about $1,500 a month. That's when I knew I couldn't keep operating out of that efficiency apartment. I needed a real kitchen, a commercial space. But commercial kitchens cost money I didn't have. Permits cost money. Licenses cost money. I was hitting a wall. That's when Patricia introduced me to a community small business program that helped women entrepreneurs. They offered microloans, business mentorship, and shared commercial kitchen space. I applied, did an interview, where I told them my whole story, the betrayal, the struggle, the hustle, and 3 weeks later, they approved me for a $5,000 microloan at low interest. Girl, when I got that call, I fell to my knees in that tiny apartment and thanked God. Maya didn't understand why Mama was crying and laughing at the same time, but she hugged me anyway. If you've ever gotten that one break that changed everything, you know that feeling. Drop a comment and tell me what that break was for you, because we all need to be reminded that miracles are real. With that loan, I got everything I needed to go legit. Business license, food handler's permit, liability, insurance, access to a shared commercial kitchen 3 days a week. I designed a simple menu, nothing fancy.
Just solid soul food done right.
Fried chicken, smothered pork chops, baked mac and cheese, collard greens with smoked turkey,
Candied.
yams,
Cornbread.
peach cobbler. I launched Viv's Kitchen officially 6 months after that day at the bus stop. I posted on social media, told my growing customer base, and offered a grand opening special, 2 plates for $15. I got 63 orders that first week that I worked 18-hour days. Maya stayed with my sister some days, with Patricia other days. I felt guilty leaving her, but I kept reminding myself I was doing this for her.
For us.
For a future where she'd never see her Mama struggling like this again. And slowly, plate by plate, order by order, Viv's Kitchen grew. But here's what nobody tells you about building something from nothing. It's not just about the hustle. It's about the mental battle you fight every single day. Because even when things started working, even when money started coming in, I still had moments where I felt like I wasn't enough. You ever worked so hard for something and still felt like you were gonna fail? Like any minute it could all fall apart? Yeah, that was me every single day for months. By month 6, Viv's Kitchen was bringing in about $4,000 a month in revenue. After expenses, I was profiting around $2,000. That might not sound like much to some people, but girl, to me, that was life-changing money. I moved Maya and me out of that efficiency apartment into a real 2-bedroom. Nothing fancy, but it had a full kitchen, a bedroom for Maya, and walls that didn't feel like they were closing in on us. I bought her a toddler bed, decorated her room with princess stickers she picked out, watched her run around, laughing in a space that was actually ours. And I realized something in that moment. James didn't break me. He broke the version of me that needed him. And the woman I was becoming? She was stronger,
Smarter.
more capable than I ever gave myself credit for. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about him,
About them.
about what they did to me. Because here's the truth. Forgiveness is a process, and revenge? Sometimes revenge is just living so well that the people who hurt you can't help but notice. It was a random Tuesday about 7 months after the divorce was finalized. I was at the grocery store, stocking up on supplies for a big catering order I'd just booked, a church event for 100 people. I was in the produce section, comparing prices on collard greens, when I heard a voice I knew too well. Vivian? I turned around and there he was.
James.
He looked different,
Tired.
like he hadn't been sleeping well.
Heat.
Lost weight, and not in a good way. His clothes looked wrinkled, and he had this defeated energy about him.
James, I said.
Kept my voice neutral. I wasn't giving him anything. Wow, you look...
He paused.
You look good. Really good. I did look good. I'd been eating better, sleeping better now that I had stable income. My hair was healthy, styled. I was wearing a nice outfit I'd bought to treat myself. I looked like a woman who had her life together, because I did.
Thanks, I said.
Started to turn away. Wait, he said. How's Maya? I've been meaning to come see her, but work's been crazy and... Work's been crazy. I cut him off. James, you haven't seen your daughter in 4 months. You haven't sent child support in 2. So don't stand here and tell me about work being crazy. He looked down. Ashamed, but not ashamed enough. I know, I messed up. Things have been tough. I got laid off from the dealership and... Not my problem, I said. And girl, saying those words felt so good. So empowering. He looked at my shopping cart, full of bulk ingredients. What's all this for? My business, I said. I own a catering company now. His eyebrows went up. You? A business? There it was. That dismissive tone. Like he couldn't imagine me being capable of anything without him.
Yeah, me.
A business. Making more money than you ever brought home, actually. That hit him. I could see it in his face. That's great, Viv. I'm happy for you. He wasn't happy. He was shocked. Maybe even a little bitter. And I loved it. I gotta go. I said. Unlike you, I've got responsibilities to handle. I walked away and didn't look back. And when I got to my car, I sat there for a minute just breathing.
Processing.
That encounter should have made me angry. Should have brought back all the pain. But instead, I felt powerful. I felt like I'd already won a battle he didn't even know we were fighting. Have you ever run into someone who hurt you after you leveled up? What did that feel like? Tell me in the comments, because that moment right there, that was fuel for what came next. Word about Viv's kitchen spread fast after that church event. Turns out when you feed 100 people and every single one of them goes back, for seconds they talk. They tell their friends, their family, their coworkers. Within 2 weeks, I had 3 more catering requests. A birthday party, a corporate lunch, a family reunion.
I
Was fully booked for the next month. I hired my first employee, a woman named Dorothy, who was in her 50s and had been cooking in restaurants
her whole life.
She needed work, I needed help, and together we made magic in that commercial kitchen. By month 10, I was bringing in $8,000 a month in revenue. I paid off that microloan early. Started
Saving.
Started planning bigger. I looked into getting my own commercial space, a real restaurant, or at least a dedicated catering facility.
The
Rent was steep, but the numbers made sense if I could keep growing at this pace. And I wasn't just growing the business. I was growing as a person. I was learning about marketing, about customer service, about managing money, about leadership. All things James used to act like I couldn't handle. But I was handling it. All of it. Maya was almost 3 now, talking in full sentences, asking questions about everything. She'd come to the kitchen sometimes and help me cook, which really meant making a mess while I worked. But I loved those moments. She was seeing her mama build something. She was learning that women don't need saving. We save ourselves. Do any of y'all have kids you're building something for? What keeps you motivated on the hard days? I need to hear your stories, because some days motivation is the only thing that keeps you moving. 1 year after starting Viv's Kitchen, I did something I never thought I'd do. I threw myself a party. Nothing big, just me, Maya, Patricia, Dorothy, my sister, and a few close friends who'd supported me through everything. We ate good food, laughed, celebrated how far I'd come. And when everyone left and it was just me and Maya, I sat on my couch in our nice apartment, and I looked at my baby girl sleeping peacefully in her princess bed in her own room, and I realized something profound. James didn't destroy me. He destroyed the life I thought I wanted. And in doing that, he forced me to build the life I actually needed. I wasn't the same Vivian who caught her husband cheating in her kitchen. I wasn't that broken, crying girl in the efficiency apartment. I wasn't even the struggling single mom selling plates at a bus stop. I was a business owner, a mother, a woman who'd taken her pain and turned it into power. But I still had questions I needed answers to. Like what happened to James and Keisha? Were they still together? Was she the reason he looked so run down when I saw him? I didn't go looking for information. But information has a way of finding you when you're not looking.